Hello, dear friends. We are very glad to welcome you once again on Alatra TV Middle East. And we are very lucky to host a special guest today, an amazing and inspiring woman, Kaz Wickham St. George's, international author, poet, artist, and writer's consultant from Australia. We are very lucky to have the second broadcast in a row from Australia. Hello, Kaz, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much. We brought a dozen of critical and important questions about kindness, mindfulness, and motivation, cooperation, and of course, education in the creative society, and so many more. So please help me in welcoming to our show Kaz Wickham St. George's. Kaz is an international author, poet, artist, and writer's consultant, as I said already. And Kaz has been writing for the past 20 years, including a career in abstract art and floral art. And also, Kaz published several books, and I hope we'll have an opportunity, a chance to talk about them today. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation, for sharing this moment with us. And I'm very happy that my co host today is Adrija from London. Adrija, how are you?
Hello, Alina. I'm very well. So glad to be here with you today. I'm Kez, really excited on having you on our show. Before we move on, I'd like to address our dear viewers. If you joined us recently and have never heard about Creative Society, I'll give you a brief insight. So, Creative Society is a unique project that has been launched on the platform of Alatra International Public Movement. This movement is visualization and envisioning process of the creative society, the society where everyone is happy, lives prosperously, and feels safe. And this process was carried out by people from more than 180 countries who conducted numerous social surveys, interesting interviews, and live conversations, just like we're having one today, in order to find out how people envision such a society. The outcome of all these activities is forming today what we believe to be the creative society of tomorrow. Stay tuned today for more details about this movement during this interview. And please feel free to leave your comments and questions in the live chat on YouTube.
And of course, you know that through this project, we also test a theory of six handshakes, according to which, by the way, all people on earth know each other through five or even fewer social connections only. So we are not strangers to each other. And basically, we can come to any person in this world through other people we know. So our pleasure today is to ask Kez and to find out her opinion on personal development in a creative society. And we know that Kez has been placed on many walls globally by using her skills in the art and her authorship. However, very close to her heart is mentoring new authors and artists promoting kindness, mindfulness, and motivation by encouraging others to the best in life they can be. So people can grow together, people can blossom together, and it's so nice. And we unite and we discuss together how we can make our society a happy and a beautiful one. So, Kes, can you please tell our viewers in a couple of words what you are doing in life, and also kindly share your story, what brought you to the point there you are and what drives you in your life?
What drives me is creativity. What also drives me is watching people be creative. So when I run a workshop, watching the smiles on their faces is a delight. It's absolutely wonderful to see people happy. It takes people's minds off their problems, whatever they may be. So when I run workshops, whether it be writing or in creative art, it's always we see the fun side of things. There's not really a problem. Problems are to be solved, and that's the way I treat people when they come in here. You leave your problems outside, but if it's really, really desperate, you have to talk about it, then we can solve it.
That is such an amazing, positive way of looking at things, because you're inspiring others to use their creativity to find positive solutions to their problems, because there is no problem if you have creativity. And that's such a
That's right.
brilliant way of putting the perspective, because we know that your passion is to inspire and nurture others to tell their stories as well. What is your story that brought you to the point where you are now with us?
Been a 20-year journey. It's been a long one. But I just found, when you're writing, when you're busy, when you're writing, when you're creating your life story, you come up against, you think, how did I do that? When I look back on my life, I think, oh my God, here I am, right where I wanted to be right now. I never thought I would be there 20 years ago. It's been putting one foot after another and being willing to shake people's hands and show kindness towards other people, but also accepting their kindness towards you. It's a two-way road. So you must accept what's given if it's kind, and then you can reciprocate. So my story started off when I was about 7, and I was unwell. So the doctors told me I had to stay home from school, and my mother looked after me, and she taught me how to sing. She taught me poetry. She taught me passages from the King James Version Bible, because we were Christians at home. And I learned to read and write that way. I didn't have a lot of schooling until I was about 10, and then I went back to school and continued writing. And while I was not well, the one thing that really, really made me excited was I entered a competition at school, and it was 2 sentences, and I won a gold star. And I've worn that gold star forever now. It's there, it's mine.
Very beautiful story, absolutely. And which topics touch your heart, Kaz? Which
What
topics
topics do
do
I
you
write about?
choose? Yeah.
Okay. I write children's books to encourage children. There's always a moral in the story. I'll show you 2 of those books now. This one here is Pally the Pelican,
Wow, so
and
beautiful.
that's from a local island here in Perth and Rockingham. And that's now living with 2 royal families, because it's encouraging people to have a moral to their story. And this one here is Entwined, and I wrote that when I was visiting Japan, and I put a whole lot of people together. We all worked together to illustrate it. It was a wonderful experience, and that's the book from it. Yes.
That's so beautiful. And why did you decide to write for children?
I love kids. I've got 4 of my own. And I just decided that, when you finish one genre in your writing life, and then you try another, and it just fitted well. So that's my 3rd children's book. I've only ever written 1 poetry book, but there's another one on its way. But I also write paranormal. So these 3 books here were all paranormal books, a whole lot of them. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun, delving into spirituality. I didn't know where that was coming from, but we wrote it, and it was a lot of fun. Meeting a lot of people. I find in my life as a writer and as an artist, I meet a lot of people. Some people ask me for help, and I'm quite willing to be there for them. And some people know what they're doing, and that's fine also.
Very beautiful, absolutely. And as we mentioned already, that in your heart you like to mentor new authors and artists to promote kindness, mindfulness, and motivation to encourage many people. We would like to ask you, from your point of view, what unites all of us on earth?
Love for one another, respect, just for simple respect for one another, which, if you respect your neighbour and they respect you, and I'm talking not by the neighbour next door, I'm talking about all the people you meet in your day, whoever you bump up into, that's your neighbour. And if they respect you and show kindness, even a smile just brings such joy to people. So that's what I practice. I practice as much kindness as possible.
That's amazing, Kez. And you talked about, all the stories that you're writing, your children's stories have morals. So you're creating such a positive impact on the next generation of our, children, because their minds are so fragile. And when you imbibe all these amazing positive thoughts into them through your stories, you're clearly helping those children develop in their personal development and transform into stronger people that do respect their neighbors, that do have love and kindness and compassion in their heart. I wanted to understand from you, Kes, please could you share your vision on how a person, and I know you're impacting children, but in general, a person, how can they prosper, both personally and professionally, contributing to the society? And what's the goal of personal development in your view?
Well, personal development makes you prosper. You can't help but, if you're listening and taking on other people's advice, if you're showing love and kindness, then your heart begins to prosper, so does your mind. You must use intellect with this also. It's a huge conversation going on at the moment with this COVID-19 going on. How do we prosper? What do we do? How do we go about this? But you've got the children here in Perth, we just, my own 4 kids, I'm a grandmother as well, and all the children are just beautiful because they listen, they show kindness, and they're educated in many, many ways, not just at school, but how to be nice to one another, and that includes their siblings, how to be understanding. So if someone comes to you with a problem, you don't have to solve it, but it's kind to listen.
That's a really important point, Kes, because listening is the first key to a successful communication, a successful relationship, whether it's parents, children, whether it's spouse, whether it's, your friends, your neighbors. You really bring a very good point, because in a lot of people don't listen actively, or even they're listening, they're probably not actually present. They may be on their phone. Right. So in order for us to be there and show that, yes, we're listening to you, even if we can't solve your problem, we're there to listen to you, I think that makes an amazing impact, because people feel loved, people feel that they're cared for, and that's such an important route towards a creative society, because if you don't listen, you don't care, do you? So no, thank you for sharing. That's a really key part. I believe a lot in communication as well, and that's one of the key strategies for having successful relationships.
That's right. Always be willing to listen.
Yeah, in our everyday life, sometimes we are not carefully listening to people because we are always thinking what we are going to answer or to say. We don't care about people, we care about what we are going to say and how we will look like in the eyes of people around
You're
us.
Right.
That's one of the main problems. So I wish we could share also with our viewers those tools, how to teach people to listen to each other, how to become a good listener, how to become respectful.
I agree.
And as the main topic of our broadcast as creative society, Kes, could you please share how do you envision such a society where everyone would feel happy, there your beloved ones, and everyone in the world would live comfortably? Can you give a picture, description of such a society?
That's a big ask. It really is. Well, the way things are, that's a dream, isn't it? For me, it's a dream. And dreams do come true. That's the nice thing about being a positive person. I think if we all set our intentions, there's programs like worldwide prayer and stuff like that. I don't join in because I'm normally pretty busy, but I do actually give thanks every day that when I open my eyes, I've been given a new day, a new life. And I think if people were more grateful for what we're given, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot. I don't think they really appreciate what they've got. I look around me and I think, I often look at people that have a lot, and I just think, I hope you're grateful, because there are people out there that would love to be where you are, and they're still climbing that ladder to be where you are. So it's a matter of showing the intention or thinking the intention and believing in yourself that you can make a difference just by a simple act of kindness, listening, sharing your food, sharing your blankets, sharing whatever you can share. You know, in Australia, we have a huge program that we share everything we can share, we can give away. You know, it's magic over here to see what people do for each other, and the listening and the kindness, and setting that intention that it is going to be a better world, not just yet, but one day soon.
That's amazing. And you're doing that with your children at home, you know, raising 4 children with all of the morals that you just talked about. You're sharing those with children all over the world. And I think, yes, it starts with families as well, because we imbibe, as parents, we imbibe these values in our children. But educational system probably also has a really important part, because they are shaping these minds, they are shaping these children. In your opinion, how does how would it look like? How should it look like in the creative society, in order for, as you said, right, every person to find their path, to find the compassion, to find that kindness, to find those morals, to grow both personally but also professionally?
Education is huge. So if you have an education, first of all, your education starts off with mum and dad. And then as you grow older, it starts off at school. But still, mum and dad still have that input into your life. And then when you leave home and you marry and you have children, or you marry, you get a job and have children, whichever way it happens, the education still has to happen, whether it be through a university, or whether it be through morals that your parents have taught you. The education is still there. I believe that my education, I had a wonderful set of parents. They were lovely to me. But they were quite old parents by the time I was born. So I was brought up in a very strict society, but that didn't hurt me. It made me sit back and think, if mum and dad are saying, why can't I do that? Why can't I? Give me a reason. And I find parents today are so busy with their connections, their Facebooks and everything else, their digital world, that taking the child by the hand and going for a walk is a lot better for the child. Now, I see children every day going with mum and dad. My office faces to the woods outside, and mum and dad taking the children and spending the time when the child bends down to pick up a leaf. Don't drag it on. Let it examine that leaf and see the life inside that leaf. Let it have its imaginary world, because it's so important for a child to expand their creativity.
It's so beautiful, absolutely, yes. Thank you so much for sharing. Kaz, from your perspective, what message should each artist bring in his work? You have a huge experience, so many years of bringing their artworks to this world. What is the role of creative ideology in cultivating moral values? Which message should be sent to people through artworks?
Simplicity. Keep it simple. That, you know, I've seen artists do some very, very intricate work, and it's very beautiful, very, very beautiful. But when I get people into my workshops, we start off by journaling, creative journaling, and I teach them to make up a quote, a positive quote. Then they add a few drawings. After a month, when they finished, they have some lovely artwork in that journal. They have some beautiful quotes, and they can show them off to their family. Who wouldn't be proud of mum or your big sister coming home with a beautiful notebook full of lovely quotes and pretty little drawings, and from there it grows. So I teach people the simplicity of art. It doesn't have to be difficult.
True, very interesting.
And it's amazing that you talked about illustration as well on your book Entwined, because the power of listening is also all the illustration. So it's not just listening to what's being told to you, what I'm reading or writing, but all the different pictures and graphics and all that pulls together to show, like all the morals that you talked about. That's a great vision that you have of a creative society, Kes, so thank you. So far, the movement towards envisioning such a society, a world in which every person will feel comfortable, has made great progress and will soon unite all of us by just that one goal. Dear viewers, did you know that as a result of the outcome of the interviews we conducted with many exceptional people, such as our guest today, we managed to create the foundation of the creative society? 8 values shall form the foundations which were described in the article, the foundations of the creative society and the stages of its construction, published on the 18th of May 2020 on the website allatraunites.com. You can see them now on the screen, and I will read them out. Human life. First and foremost, the really important one, human life, where we value human life. And then human freedom and human safety. Transparency and openness of information for all. The creative ideology, development of personality, we were just talking about with Kes. Justice and equality, self-governing society. Dear viewers, I would like to introduce you the first foundation, human life. Human life is the highest value, and life of any human has to be protected as one's own. The goal of society is to ensure and guarantee the value of each of this life. And that's where I feel that human life, we need to ensure there is not and never can there be anything which is more valuable than one's own life. And if one human is valuable, then all people are valuable. Kes, please can you share your vision on this value? How important is its implementation in our society nowadays?
Well, if you can't love yourself, you can't love others. You have to value yourself. That's my total input into it. First of all, you need to love yourself. You need to see the beauty of who you are. No matter what your body looks like, your heart's got to be beautiful. And realizing that beauty, then you actually share it with others. It shows in your face.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, and we touched already the topic of one more foundation, which is the foundation number 6, development of personality. It says that every person in the creative society has the right to comprehensive development and personal fulfillment. And we touched already today the topic of how important is the education. Can you please share with us your understanding about what should be done today so that the education and good foundation is available to people all around the globe?
Well, as you can see, I'm old school, so I believe education should be free to everybody. And it's not just going to school. Excuse me. It's education from your family, your aunties, your uncles, your grandparents. It's education from your parents. It's education from your neighbours. And it all happens very subtly. So if someone comes to you and says, I have an idea, what do you think about this idea? Please be generous enough to sit there and talk about the idea. It could be a wild idea, nobody knows, but you should be generous enough to sit there and listen to the idea. It could come from any sort of education that I've just said. It could come from anywhere. It's very important that we educate each other as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that the accessibility, free education for every human being, we can afford it. It's not a problem, right? Why can't we just create such a structure, such a system that the education is available for every person? Because the future of our civilization depends on how educated, how well developed are people in every corner, at every corner of our planet. And thank you for sharing. But also I would like to touch the fifth foundation of the Creative Society to introduce it to our viewers and to you, Cass. So the fifth foundation is the creative ideology. Ideology should be aimed at popularization the best human qualities and stopping everything that is directed against a human. The main priority is the priority of humanity, high spiritual and moral aspirations of a human, humanness, virtue, mutual respect, and strengthening of friendship, creating conditions for the development and education of a human with a capital H, cultivating moral values in each person and society, prohibition of propaganda, of violence, condemnation, and denunciation of any form of division, aggression, and anti-human manifestations.
Okay.
And I believe that mass media, books, newspapers, magazines, television, internet is something which is creating this ideology, something which is building such an ideology by the content which is being is shown every day to young people, to all people actually. Let's talk about how we can change it towards the vector of creativity, and so that we could implement this foundation in our life.
Oh, that's a hard one. How do you implement it? I believe that once we're all holding hands right around the universe, it will start. We're nearly there. Yeah, there's the ideology of what you're asking is possible, but I think it's going to take a few years yet for people to realise that education and spirituality all goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. I think Kaz's picture is frozen, right?
No, I'm good. I was just listening to you.
Good. No,
Yeah.
good. Sorry, yeah.
No, I'm a firm believer in your education, and it includes spirituality, your formal education, your home life. It all should marry and hold hands. And that's when the kids come home with questions, and you should be brave enough to be truthful and answer them. Sometimes it's hard. But, we're getting there. People are nothing like they used to be 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Things are more open to the public now. So the children are more inquiring. But, also protecting your children, watching what they watch is huge. Don't let them watch violent things. They're going to become violent. Don't use foul language in front of them. Don't be abusive. Don't. Parents do get angry, but let's not go over the top. It's very important that we show our children how to be generous.
And that just reminds me, Kez, of the three monkeys, where we say, speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. And that is so true, because if we, as families, as parents, children, neighbors, friends, education system, and even in our corporate life, if we are spreading positivity, if we are talking creatively, we're talking positively, we're seeing positive things only, as you said, right? Let's not make our children watch violent things on the TV. And then speak good. If you can't talk positive, just don't talk about it. Only pick the positive values,
That's
because
right.
when you look at people, there are so many different lenses. And if I don't like something about somebody, I can change my lens, I can change my outlook, and there will be so much other amazing qualities in the person, in the thing, and I think that's where creativity comes, because you need your brains to think creatively to be able to open your hearts and open your minds to all these other options, which then makes the world beautiful, makes all the people around us beautiful. You mentioned, Kez, about education right from the beginning. Alina talked about social media, for us to spread the message. What do you think is the best way, Kez, to inform people about such an initiative as the Creative Society Project?
This is my opinion and my opinion only. I reckon you ladies are doing a fabulous job with what the ideology you're trying to put out there. It's people like these programs that set the ball rolling. Without people saying kind, generosity, knowledge, spirituality, education, watching how the heart reacts to other people, as you said, wearing different glasses. Without that being acknowledged and brought to the forefront, I don't think we're going to know about it. All we're going to watch is what's happening on TV. But when you see kindness and when you see people being neighbourly, educated, being wonderful to each other, that's when your children are going to say, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. I'm going to practice that. That's how I see it. So what you ladies are doing and bringing out is fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kaz. And I would like to ask you, what would you wish for our viewers in the perspective of self-development and creating a creative society?
What would I say?
What would you wish to our viewers?
What would I wish?
Yeah.
Oh, peace, love, and happiness. I wish everybody has a beautiful life. It's not hard.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that is so true, Alina and Kez, because education, we can train our mind, we can make it beautiful, and then heart, right? And it's about connecting with the hearts and the minds. And when you connect with both the hearts and the minds of the people, you win over people, you win over communities, you win over societies. And that's such a key thing to do. Have a pure heart and a pure mind.
Absolutely. And in the history of our civilization, we see a lot of examples of very well-educated monsters, right? So,
yes, very.
They're not using their hearts. Yeah, it's the mind, but not the heart.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
the mind without the heart makes us animals. Actually, it's important that heart controls a very well-educated mind. Then it goes to the creativity.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a three-way channel. It's a three-way thing. It's the mind, the heart, and the creativity.
Yes, absolutely. And I think when you put all of them together, the heart, mind, soul, that's what imbibes the creativity. Because if you're trying to do something that makes your soul really feel pure and happy and amazing, it channels your mind and says, these are the things that makes you grateful, that makes you happy, that makes you feel blessed, right? So you feel your heart, you feel your soul connect with your mind, and then it tells your mind to do the right thing. And then your mind.
Spot on. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kes. We would like to ask you our main question. What would you like to live in a creative society?
Oh yes, please. I don't. In my mind, I can see no other way but to live like that. Everything I do is creative, whether it be public speaking, art, journaling, writing, looking after grandchildren, meeting with my family and husband. It's always a creative side to it. A lot of love.
That's true. And what I really liked is you mentioned today that creativity is part of our action. Then we let's say are tuned to kindness.
Yes.
And goodwill to other people, respect to everyone, acceptance of yourself. And
Yes.
here comes the creativity to us. And as you mentioned today, we are not far away from it, because so many good people today already started, not only to think about it, but to act.
That's right.
And
Just hold your hand out.
Society, because I mean, with your books and stories and bringing those stories of people to the audience, to the wider, globally, when people hear stories, they feel motivated, they feel inspired, and they feel more confident. They know that if others can do it, and those are all the positive morals that you're sharing through the stories. I mean, I would be inspired, Kez, because I would feel that you're doing such an amazing job sharing stories to say that it's possible. Life will have ups and downs, but bring the creativity out in you, and then you will start seeing so many options. And when you were talking, I felt that it's not something that you're just impacting personally, where people think, yes, I can be creative, I can come out of a bad situation, I can think positive and make my life beautiful. I think it's also applicable, in political world, in corporate world, where leaders, whether they're corporate leaders, whether they are, leaders running countries, can also think similarly, that let's be creative. Let's think outside of the box. Violence is not the only solution. There could be other ways of solving problems and looking at situations.
And also, as you mentioned today, Kaz, when we show aggression and violence to our children, they will get aggressive and violent. And we are living in the world where we really need more kind books. More creative stories. And it's I'm saying it not just because I'm a parent, but it's a wish of my daughter. She told me recently, she's 10 years old almost, she told me recently, why do we have horror books? Why every book I'm trying to read makes me feel anxious? I don't want to read such books. Can you, mom, please find kind books for me? And then I start to search, and I have to say, nowadays it's not so easy. It's not so easy to find really kind and creative books. So there is a lot of work to be done by kind authors.
There's a lot of that. She's right. But you just have to look in the right places, know the right people. There is a lot of beautiful books out there. I do a book review every Tuesday live on Facebook, and I often do children's storybooks, but I don't do scary ones. I always do ones that encourage and have a moral to them, and that, you can end up with a smile. The stories I read as a child were always full of fun and hope and love.
What about your paranormal ones, Kez? I know you touched upon it and you've written the 3 paranormal, and it's connecting with the spiritual world. But I believe a lot in spirituality, and I do believe that, meditation, spiritualism, and it's not about religion, but it's all about, again, kindness. Because if you are a spiritual person and you know that there is, a wider universe, there is a power that is watching over you, you send out positive energy, you get positive energy back. And that's spiritualism, right? Because people, it's karma as well. And I coach, like, my daughter, my son, I'm always telling them, if you send out positive energy to the universe will bring you positive energy back. So it's not it's not what you reap, what you sow, but but it's also about energy, aura, positivity. So would love to hear what your thoughts were when you wrote the, and I don't know what the take was it more spiritual in your paranormal books? What was the moral in some of them?
My moral, it was my publisher that challenged me. And she said, okay, you've done travel, adventure, romance stories. And I wanted to keep those books. It was all about a certain woman learning through her life. And then the paranormal, I also took that lead character, but I gave her a guide. Now, we all know that your guide sits inside you. This is your guide. But I made it very real. I made her another person. So she was a spirit that when this woman was troubled, or her mind was troubled, or her heart was troubled, she would ask the question. There's nothing spooky about it. It's very normal for, you know, how children have an invisible friend.
Guardian angels.
Yeah. All my children and my grandchildren have had invisible friends, and we don't deny that. I don't know whether they're there or not. I don't know. So I made it into an adult story so that she had the invisible friend who she could turn to and say, I feel miserable today. And the invisible friend would say, what's the problem? Again, listening. That's all it was. It was a listening thing. Listening to your heart. And this is what the books were all about. So for an adult, it had to go into paranormal genre, and they were very successful. Yeah, they were very, yeah, I loved writing them, yes.
That's brilliant, because you're just telling them that, yes, there is someone out there as a guardian angel listening to you, guiding you. But ultimately, when it comes to adults, they will get the underlying meaning that the hero lies in you. The power lies within you to make the difference, to make the change. That's beautiful, Kez. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Sorry, Alina, did you want to add anything? Did you have any? I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and just hearing where Kez comes from, and you know, all of her thoughts that she's channeled into the creative work, and spreading that creativity with so many people is just phenomenal and inspiring.
Yeah. Now, I would like to thank you, Kez, for today's conversation. It was really very much inspiring, very much interesting, and I felt that kindness through our broadcast as well. Thank you so much. And dear viewers, if you would like to join Creative Society project of ALLATRA International Public Movement, please visit our website, allatraunites.com, and you will see that Join Us button, click it, and you will need to fill out a very short and easy form. If you or your friends want to participate in our live conversations, please send your emails to ue@allatraunites.com, and also you can participate in conversations on ALLATRA Radio. So please send us your requests and ideas to the email info@allatraunites.com. We are very open to any question, any idea, and any suggestion. And also, please, small announcement for our viewers: if you speak Portuguese and if you would like to participate in Creative Society project, kindly let us know.
And please do share our broadcasts in the social networks using the two hashtags, hashtag Creative Society and hashtag ALLATRA Unites. Leave your comments below and also join us in the 6 Handshakes initiative. After all, the more people find out about the possibility of creating this creative society, the faster we can begin to implement our goal. Thank you all very much for being a part of our society, being a part of our journey, and see you soon on ALLATRA TV Middle East. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.